Hey, how you doing? Today on Audience Fame, we're going to talk about how to build your audience on Instagram. If you're interested in learning how to build your audience across all the social media platforms, this is the podcast you want to subscribe to. So make sure you go ahead and subscribe right now. Let's get into the show. All right, let's get into this. We're going to talk today about how you can use Instagram as a strategy to build the following, to build your tribe, and to grow your audience. Instagram is one of the hottest things right now, if not the hottest thing in regards to growing your audience and really building a presence on social media. It's a great place to be. So if you're not there, you want to make sure that you get there now. If you are there, let's get into this and let's talk about some of the things you really need to focus in on. First off, it's your profile. That profile picture is the first thing that people see. Normally it's your face, and I would always suggest you using your face. One of the biggest things and concepts that I try and get across to people is that you are the brand, and own it. Go ahead, own that you are the brand. People are not as much buying your product or service as it is they are buying you. And when they can see more of you, it just makes a difference. So let's take a look here at what needs to go into your profile. The information, that little piece that you get an opportunity to say what it is that you're about, what your product or service is about, is vitally important. It is something that people pay attention to. So you want to make sure that it's relevant, and you want to make it about them, not you. You want to make it so that when they read this, they're seeing the benefits to them, not the benefits to you, but the benefits to them and what it is that they're trying to do, whatever your specific target market is. You want to make sure that you're addressing them and you're making that profile part about you. Also, in that profile, you obviously want to make sure that you have a link to your website or a landing page that you're promoting at the time. And you can always change this out, replace it, and make it important to what it is that you're focusing in on right now that you want them to pay attention to and focus in on. But most times it's a link to a website or a landing page that you're going to send them to. And don't be afraid to use hashtags in your profile. 1 or 2 hashtags in your profile is really, really good, and it's probably going to get you more traction as well. Now, speaking about hashtags are important every single time you do a post on Instagram. It is one of the engines that drives the search in Instagram and how people find you and you find others that are interested in the things that you're interested in. And if you don't know how to do a search on Instagram, it's very simple. You open up Instagram at the bottom, you've got the little magnifying glass. That's where the search feature is. You can search for people, you can search other hashtags, companies, so on and so forth. But this is also how people find you. You can even follow hashtags on Instagram as well, which is a great feature because you might want to follow a specific hashtag that is vital to your product or service so you can stay up to date on what's going on in your own genre. So hashtags, you can use up to 30 hashtags in an Instagram post. Now, you might want to be kind of careful of this because some people use all 30 and some people might use 10 or 5 or 1. It really depends on your audience, and you'll be able to see what is really going to work. But when you are looking to do hashtags, some people, if you use all 30, you really got to know your audience because some people might look at it as spammy if you're using all 30 hashtags and you're using so many hashtags. I haven't found a problem with that at all, and I use as many hashtags as I can. But what you want to make sure is that those hashtags are extremely relevant to what it is that you're about. Don't use hashtags that you just think are popular because that's spammy. You might have a website catering to dogs, dog food or dog walking, and you putting in a hashtag related to making money, even though it's popular, people are going to look at that as spammy. So you want to make sure that the hashtags that you're using are extremely relevant to your brand. The other part about this is what I call, or not what I call, but what is called tagging. You can tag people in your Instagram posts by using the @ and then their, their handle on Instagram. Be careful with that. I'm one of those people that hates for people to tag me on stuff that has nothing to do with me. And some people think that that's a good thing to do. Well, I want to make sure that this person in this industry sees me. Well, that person in that industry may not really want to be tagged on stuff. And you'll start noticing this because people will take the tags off. When you tag someone, they have the ability, because they see that you've tagged them, they have the ability to go in and remove their name and remove their tag. And you've got to pay attention to this. So if you're making posts and you're tagging people in your Instagram post using their, Instagram handle, you might want to be very careful about doing that. It's one thing if it's just family and friends, that's one thing. But when you're talking about doing business and gaining clients and things of that nature on Instagram, you want to be careful about tagging people, especially if you're doing it all the time. So just be mindful of that. Another big part of Instagram, which is really one of the biggest parts, is stories. And stories are basically 15-second, you've got 15 seconds. You can either talk, you can put up an image, whatever it is. But there, when you go to Instagram and you see a little circle around someone's picture, that means they have a story available or they're doing a live stream. And you can click on that or just touch it and you'll be able to see what that story is all about. When you're doing stories, I think it's important too, and I learned this from a good friend of mine, Cyrus Webb, is that when you are doing stories, put a hashtag, one hashtag in your story and also a location. What I've found is that it drives more traffic for me because of what it is that I do in the city of Milwaukee. So you can put a location like your city, your state, exactly where you are, because Instagram knows and it'll show you that when you want to basically put your location. You may want to do that for events that you're having. You may want to do that for, something special that you're doing in your office or something of that nature. So location can be very important, along with one of your major hashtags that is really relevant to that post that you're putting in your story. If you don't know, there is a difference between a story and something that what I call on your wall. On your wall, you can do 1-minute videos, and we're going to get into that. You can do 1-minute videos, anything up to 60 seconds. Basically, you can sit there and talk. You can put a portion of another video that you've done before. If you know how to chop that up and make it into 1-minute segments, you can do that on Instagram. And so this brings us to, okay, how many times should you be posting a day on Instagram? Now, I suggest up to 3 times a day. You can obviously do more, and there is absolutely nothing wrong with doing more. Instagram is one of those platforms where people aren't going to look at you as spamming because you're making a post on your wall. And when you think about it, the people that are in your tribe, the people that are in your audience, they want to hear from you. They want to see what you have to say. They want to know more about what it is that you're doing. So every time you make a post, they're going to get notified of it if they're following you. And even if they're not clicking on the post right when you post it because they got notified, when they're scrolling through their feed, through their homepage feed on Instagram, they're probably going to see that as well. So what you want to do, I suggest up to 3 posts a day. And some ideas about what you want to post, real simple. You can post like a quote, whether it's a quote from someone famous, whether it's a quote from yourself, make that a post, or a meme or something like that. Also, what I would suggest is do like a 1-minute video, like what I was just talking about. Just talk to the camera, really natural setting. Even holding it like a selfie and doing that, people engage with that type of post as well. They'll make comments, they will, like it or heart it or whatever you want to call it. And then also do a little pic at, take a little selfie of you doing what you do, whether it's at work, something relevant to the industry. Just snap a picture of yourself with a smile and maybe put some words on that. Talking about what it is that you're doing. And the thing about when you use words on Instagram, the less words you use, the better on a picture, because people are scrolling and they're just doing that. Now, if you want to put even a whole blog post, on Instagram, you can do that in the section for the comments. People engage with that as well. So you can put a whole blog post in the comments section when you're, uploading your picture or your video or whatever. You can do that, and you can still put the hashtags on there that are relevant to that blog post. Even in that blog post, if there are words that are relevant in there that are hashtagable words, did I just coin a phrase, hashtagable? If you do that, it can just kind of flow in with your blog post as well. So you can kind of use some things there to kind of decide how you want to do the hashtags inside of a blog post or a long form post on Instagram, or if you just want to do them all at the bottom. There is a limitation to the amount of words, and I don't know right offhand how many words that is, but I'm assuming it's somewhere close to around between 300 to 500 words you can post inside of an Instagram post. But test that out and see how that works. One of the last things that I want to get into is IGTV. IGTV is a phenomenal platform if you are willing to go all in on it. IGTV, a lot of people call it a replacement for YouTube, but when you use IGTV, you want to make sure that you're keeping your videos short. If you don't have a big following, you're only going to get 10 minutes to do something on IGTV. If you have a larger following, I think it's over 1,000, it might be 2,000, you'll get 15 minutes to do an IGTV episode. So you want to check into that, because IGTV can be a way for you to engage your audience. And the way that you engage them on IGTV that I see that works extremely well is you make a Instagram story, the 15-second thing I was talking about earlier. You make an Instagram story, and you can also link it to your IGTV. So you can say, hey, make sure you watch my IGTV. I just did an episode on such and such. Just click the link or swipe up or whatever, but you can do that right there. Everyone can do that, and you can draw attention to your IGTV that way. So these are some of my tips and tricks here on how you can build a following on Instagram. And you can see that this is what I'm doing right now. I started the whole thing with Audience Fame so that I could show you my process starting from zero and how it is that I'm building this particular channel on Instagram and other channels as well, like YouTube, Facebook, my Facebook page, and things of that nature, because all of these are important. All of these are relevant. I have a much larger following for what I do in the voiceover sector. I'm a voiceover coach and a voice actor as well. And I have a huge following there, probably close to 10,000 people between all the platforms that I'm on, including Instagram, where I think I'm approaching about 3,000 followers on that page. If you want to check it out, you're more than welcome to do that. Just go to Instagram and look up voiceover business coach, and you'll see my happy face right there. Leave me a comment below. Leave me also, what is your Instagram channel? I want to know your Instagram channel, because I will go and follow you and see how it is that you're doing and how it is that you're building out your page, because I'm extremely interested in all of this. This is the whole purpose for Audience Fame. You can check out the website at audiencefa.me. It's audiencefa.me is the web address, and I just simply call it Audience Fame. Well, I hope this has been helpful. I hope this has been impactful. I want to thank all the folks that watch me on YouTube, all the folks that listen to me on Conversations Radio Network, and all the folks that follow my podcast that you can find everywhere. Just make sure you visit the website, audiencefa.me, and you can see everywhere that I am and how you can follow me. And please do, because as I'm building my audience, I want to make sure that you have some audience fame as well. You guys have an awesome and amazing day, and I'll see you next time. Take care.